Slight chance of showers, temperature in the upper 70s. Here at FedEx Field in Landover, Maryland. Toss one by Cleveland. And the first-year head coach Mike Pettine will have his offense on the field first. He'll receive. Pettine was with the Bills last year as Doug Marrone's defensive coordinator. Before that with the Jets with Rex Ryan. Meantime, on the opposite side, we mentioned Jay Gruden, who has a terrific pedigree as a head coach back in his arena football days. Spent the last 3 years as the Bengals offensive coordinator. And in his first season as the head coach here in Washington. Jay won his debut, beating New England 23-6. The Browns lost in Detroit to the Lions by 1. That was week 1 of the preseason. Now it's week 2, and Brian Hoyer will get the first opportunity for Cleveland. Have a kicking battle for Washington. Ty Forbath, the incumbent. Zach Hawker trying to win the job. He's got a big leg, and he kicks off. And Taylor Gabriel will watch it go all the way. It's a touchback. And Brian Hoyer will get it started from the 20. The Brian Hoyer story. Undrafted out of Michigan State. 3 years backing up Tom Brady. Kid from Cleveland. Terrific baseball career in high school. Finally got the opportunity, John, after a cup of coffee with Arizona last year with the Browns. 2 wins, off to a good start in that third game, which was a win, and then tore his ACL and missed the rest of the season.
Yeah, accuracy and decision-making are his strength. Don't fall asleep on this kid. He loves the pressure.
Snap came back early, and unblocked is Ryan Kerrigan, and he brings down Hoyer after a loss of 6 and some miscommunication.
What a terrible way to start the game. Ball snapped on the wrong count, and you don't block one of the best pass rushers in the NFC, and Ryan Kerrigan has the easiest sack of his career. Horrible way to start a football game when you're not on the same page in terms of the snap count.
See the right guard, John Greco, is still in his stance, waiting for something to happen. Josh Gordon, top of the screen, led the NFL in receiving yards this year. Can play in the preseason, even though he's likely to be suspended in the regular season. And here's another problem.
False start. Offense. Number 73. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
The penalty parade begins. Terry McCauley, our referee. It's a good offensive line. Joe Thomas and Alex Mack, excellent in their positions. Pro Bowlers. For the players who will handle the ball, new running back in Ben Tate this year from Houston. Miles Austin comes from the Cowboys. Nate Burleson's out tonight. He comes over from the Lions. And Jordan Cameron, an excellent tight end, caught 80 balls last year. 2nd and 21, and Hoyer's pass. Well, in the regular season, Jordan Cameron's terrific. Didn't catch it there.
Well, when you have 2 different quarterbacks, alternating series all week on the practice field, sometimes you're not on the same page in terms of the snap count. Everybody sounds differently. This is a very difficult situation, rotating quarterbacks, and Kyle Shanahan knows it.
Kyle returns to Washington. 3rd and 21. And they'll just give it to Tate. Some space to run, and Tate will be 3 yards shy of the first down as he eventually spilled at the 27. Brandon Merriweather, the center.
Good call in a predictable situation, but Mike Pettine cannot be pleased with 2 penalties or 1 penalty in a botched center exchange to start this football game.
Spencer Lanning is in his 2nd year as the punter. Able to get away 48-yard kick. And Andre Roberts, signed by them this year from Arizona. He returns it only to the 23-yard line. Came out as the Heisman winner, was the rookie of the year in terms of offense in 2012. This time last year it was, will RG3 make it to opening day? We saw him a bit in the preseason in his work. He made it to opening day, but he was never really right. 3-10 in the season, shut down the last 3 games. But now it's very new because his offense is different from what he ran last year.
And you don't see that knee brace, and that's a good sign for Redskin fans.
From the 23, Griffin first toss. It's caught. Gain of a half dozen to Jordan Reed, who caught 45 balls last year.
Jordan Reed can play a lot of roles. He can run routes out of the backfield. He can run them as a conventional tight end. That time he runs a quick out. Ball's thrown accurately on time, and Jordan Reed hauls it in. He missed the last 6 games last year with a concussion. He has rare pass receiving skills, and you're going to see Jordan Reed line up everywhere for Washington.
Officially a gain of 5. Griffin back to the air, scanning the field, and comes to his open receiver. First down for Deshaun Jackson, making his Washington debut at midfield.
That's a great start for Griffin. And Jay Gruden wanted to see Roberts stand in the pocket, trust his protection. You're going to see Mingo coming at the bottom of the screen, get a little bit of pressure, and Roberts shows no fear. Keeps his eyes downfield and makes a nice delivery to the outside. Well done.
23 yards in front of one of the best corners in the league, number 23, Joe Hayden. Love the talent around Griffin on this Washington offense. If healthy, they could have a very good season. Morris fumbles it, and it's recovered by Craig Robertson, the weak side linebacker for the Browns.
Can't understand that. The Washington Redskins, one of the worst first quarter teams in football last year. And it's because of plays like this. A routine toss sweep, and Alfred Morris has to make the play.
Morris puts it on the ground. Turnover for Washington. The NFL preseason special brought to you by Jockey. Quality crafted to last longer. Guaranteed. Jockey, supporting greatness. And ESPN.com's NFL Nation, featuring coverage of all 32 teams. Redskin fans, got the Johnny football jersey. Jay Gruden over with an early word for Robert Griffin III, who did everything right the first few plays there, and Alfred Morris, a little pat on the head for the man who dropped it and fumbled it. And now Brian Hoyer gets his second drive. Starting in Washington territory. And Ben Tate off the left side, spilled at the 44 by the second-year corner, David Amerson. Good time to look at this Washington defense. They've added Jason Hatcher from Dallas, an 11-sack man last year. He's out with a knee injury, so not play, but should be there for week 1. Keenan Robinson, key with the linebackers. He takes over the spot held by London Fletcher. In the secondary, veterans like D'Angelo Hall, Brandon Merriweather, and Ryan Clark, who comes over from Pittsburgh. And the second-year man, Amerson, who just made the last play. Tate to the right. He's held up after a gain of just a couple of yards. And Keenan Robinson there on the tackle. Last year, Willis McGahee was the leading rusher for Cleveland after they traded Trent Richardson to the Colts. So it's Tate and a rookie Terrence West figured to be the 1-2 combo.
Well, Tate had over 1,900 yards in 3 years with the Texans. He understands this zone running scheme that Kyle Shanahan runs. He has a feel for it. He has vision. He knows when to take it, and he knows when to cut it back.
On the ground, 3rd and 4 for Hoyer. His pass a little low, and it's incomplete. Trying to get it to Andrew Hawkins, who came over from Cincinnati. So with the good field position, the 2 drives with Hoyer go 3 and out, and likely to see Manziel the next drive for Cleveland.
It's the second time the ball has come out too early from Hoyer. Whether the receivers are late getting their head around or Hoyer's a little quick with his drop, the timing of this Brown pass offense, not good.
Spencer Lanning will try to pin him inside the 10. Drops it nose down to get the good bounce. But it knuckles into the end zone. So the kick is 42, but only a net of 22. Warriors had 2 series. We'll see if we see Manziel the next time around. Johnny Manziel warming up. Brian Hoyer sitting, so it looks like he will get the next series. It depended on the length of the series. If there's like a 10-play series, then I think Pettine would have switched quarterbacks after the first one. But 2 3 and outs. Manziel likely next. After the turnover, Griffin and the Redskins back to their own 20, and there's Robert out of the pocket and taking off, awkwardly heading down after a gain of 4.
That's one thing I want to see from Griffin. adapt in terms of your playing style. It's a bootleg. He comes around. He avoids Mingo. Protect yourself.
Holding. Defense number 23. 5-yard penalty added to the end of the play. First down.
Joe Hayden downfield. He called for the hold, so that'll be tacked on. If you watched any preseason games, you know that illegal contact, the defensive holding, very prevalent in terms of penalties called. John, we talked about in the open, it's a new offense for Robert Griffin III. It's going to be very different. The zone read we're not likely to see much of with the Redskins this year.
Well, don't be surprised if you see it. It's going to be a game-to-game situation, but this offense is going to be a combination of what they did well last year and some new things that Jay and his staff want to do.
Automatic first down on the hold and a whistle.
Ball start. Offense number 10. 5-yard penalty. First down.
They get Griffin. They're watching the linemen for simulating the snap and trying to draw people off, and that time Griffin is the one who's called.
You know, I think Jay and Robert have spent countless hours obviously detailing what Griffin liked about last year's system and obviously trying to get him more organized in terms of how to handle pass protections and communicating at the line of scrimmage.
DeMars up the middle gets a good part of the penalty yardage back. The players protecting Griffin, the offensive line, Trent Williams, been a Pro Bowler. Sean Laval comes over from Cleveland, a good starting guard. Lichtensteiger moved in from guard to center, veterans on the right side. Your fantasy team ended up with Alfred Morris, Pierre Garçon, Deshaun Jackson, and Jordan Reed. You'd be pretty happy. Those are some good, talented players. So if it comes together with the trigger man, Griffin, it's going to be very good for Washington. That's Garçon to the 35-yard line, and for the third consecutive play, a flag is down.
Now they got Trent Williams, a pulling tackle.
Pass interference. Offense number 12. 10-yard penalty. Second down.
Andre Roberts blocking downfield.
I thought they got Trent Williams, their Pro Bowl left tackle, on the perimeter. Some of these officials are going to have Tommy John surgery, Mike, for all the flags I've seen. Unbelievable the amount of work they're getting. Throwing flags.
It has been flag filled. Some folks wondering what it will be like next week when we see the starters in week 3. Usually that dress rehearsal game, they go into the third quarter. Will we see the line come back more towards last year for the defensive contact? I don't think that's going to be the case early on. Time here for Griffin. He escapes. Takes off again. Takes a couple of hits. Goes out of bounds a yard short of the first down, and we have a flag down on the near side of the field, away from the play.
We have a bunch of flags. Holding, I believe, and you're going to see illegal contact.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Holding. Defense number 56. Penalties decline. Holding. Defense number 21. 5-yard penalty added to the end of the run. Automatic first down.
21's Justin Gilbert. That's Cleveland's first draft pick, number 8 overall. How about these hits Griffin takes on the run here?
Well, I talked about him adapting his playing style, and it sounds good on the practice field, but when the lights come on, I just think he needs to fix this somehow, some way. Some of the biggest hits I've seen in the NFL over the last 2 years involved Griffin. And I know the Redskins are worried about that.
Maybe the hit he took in that rookie year, Haloti Ngata hit him as he was scrambling with the Ravens playing the Redskins. Pass hauled in by Darrell Young, and the fullback is just shy of the first down. Young's an interesting story, John. When he found out that Jay Gruden was getting the job, he said, oh, man, that doesn't work out well for me. Cincinnati didn't use a fullback very often, but Jay didn't have a guy like this in Cincinnati.
No, that's what I was just going to say. If you're a versatile football player, you're going to play in a Jay Gruden offense, and Darrell Young can catch it. He can pick up blitzes, and I saw him have 3 touchdowns rushing last year against the Chargers. He's going to be a big part of this 2-back system.
Second and 1, and Griffin finds Jordan Reed in the middle of the field. Keeps going to the 34. 15 yards and a Washington first down.
Jordan Reed is an ex-quarterback, had 45 catches in 9 games, and they love his versatility. That time a swipe route right across the middle of the field, and he beat Dante Whitner to daylight. Well-thrown ball. Robert Griffin looks sharp, Mike.
He does, John. You see the numbers 4 of 4 here in the early going. Did the terminology change a lot in the offense for him?
It changed, and you can see some shotgun starts sometimes when these Redskins break the huddle. They have work to do, I think, refining the terminology before week 1.
The 34, Griffin swings it out to Deshaun Jackson. 11 yards and a first down for Jackson.
That's what I like about this receiving core of the Redskins the most is they can all run with the ball after they catch it. Simple route. Quick out to the outside, catch the ball, make a defender miss, and turn a 4-yard gain into an 11-yard pickup and a first down. And when you have Pierre Garçon, who caught over 100 passes on one side, and the dangerous Deshaun Jackson on the other with Jordan Reed inside, you're formidable throwing it.
Those numbers in Chip Kelly's offense last year in Philadelphia. Philadelphia waived by the Eagles in the offseason. Free agent signee here in the division with the Redskins. That time, Alfred Morris eliminated by Phil Taylor and Craig Robertson.
Well, this is Mike Pettin in the Bear defense. They cover the center. They cover both of the guards. They jam it all up. It's an 8-man front. You're going to be one defender short. And Phil Taylor from Baylor, 340 pounds, healthy again. He had a hamstring earlier in training camp. Good football player. But when you see that Bear defense, that's a run-stopping front. Washington might need to throw the ball if they see it again.
Of course, the tie there is Pettin with Rex Ryan with the Jets. Of course, Buddy Ryan's defensive expertise with Chicago and that Bear defense. Off the hands of Jackson, who's being trailed by Carlos Dansby. It's incomplete. You talked about Phil Taylor. John, it's a good defensive team here for Cleveland. Desmond Bryant is out tonight. He's got a wrist that needs a second opinion. But Rubin, Billy Wynn, you'll see Taylor as well in that group. Linebackers fortified by the addition of Carlos Dansby, replacing DeQuell Jackson. A lot of folks like Marquinhos Mingo as well. Hayden, one corner. Buster Screen is injured and had surgery on a thumb just today. But the new addition is Dante Whitner from Northeast Ohio via Ohio State. Free agent signee last with the 49ers. 3rd and 14 in field goal range. Griffin throws a pick. There goes Joe Hayden. The tremendous corner for the Browns takes it into Cleveland territory, Washington territory at the 45-yard line.
Well, it's an inside blitz, and the Pro Bowl corner, Joe Hayden, sat on the route, and he makes Griffin pay.
Manziel on the field, in good field position next. Griffin throws the pick in field goal range, so Washington comes away without points, and it's Johnny Manziel time. Browns' 22nd overall pick in the draft, won the Heisman as a freshman, first time that ever happened. And then last year had a very good season. Jameis Winston was the freshman who won the Heisman. Here he is, game 2 in the NFL for Manziel. First one's a toss to Tate. We'll get it to the 41-yard line and a pickup of 5 yards.
Well, Johnny Football, he's a rare playmaker, but he's also a known risk taker. This is new to him, being in the huddle, calling the plays, memorizing these formations, hearing it sometimes from the sideline. It's a work in progress. Let's see if he can make some improvement in week 2 of the preseason.
Did not play with the starters last week in Detroit. Stays in the pocket. It's behind Jordan Cameron. And he would have had a first down if the pass was better.
Well, it's good protection. You're going to see wide receiver Cameron coming from left to right. He's wide open. Manziel just needs to make an accurate throw. Looked like he expected Cameron to sit down. Cleveland has not been on the same page tonight throwing the football. And this is where Washington is at their best on defense, Mike. They were a very good third down defense last year. Look for Jim Haslett to pressure the young rookie.
Manziel brings Miles Austin tight to the formation. Not getting away from Kerrigan. and Ryan brings him down for the sack and a loss of 8. And they give Manziel the Manziel treatment with the hand gestures.
Kerrigan can beat you one-on-one. They show pressure on one side, and they get Kerrigan in a one-on-one situation against Mitchell Schwartz. And I think Schwartz is the weak link in terms of pass protection in one-on-one situations, and Kerrigan got him again.
Spencer Lanning with the punt. Andre Roberts with a fair catch to the 13. Brian Aratco standing right over Johnny Football, giving him the same sign he gave the commission. He came out for the draft. The sack by Kerrigan. And some highlights and lowlights in the first couple of Griffin drives, John.
Well, when you watch the last interception, clearly Leroy Hallou's got to do a better job picking up Mingo on the stunt. But watch carefully, Mike. Griffin doesn't get any follow-through at all on the throw. No follow-through. It's 3rd down and 14. If things aren't perfect, throw the ball away, get something out of the drive. But I think Robert forced that one, and a veteran like Joe Hayden is going to get you every time.
Poorest field position of the 3 Washington possessions. At the 14 with Alfred Morris. Gain of 5 before Craig Robertson escorts him to the sideline.
Alfred Morris has had amazing success in this zone running scheme. Almost 2,900 yards in his first 2 seasons. But what's odd about Morris is he's got over 600 carries, I think, Mike, but he's only caught, I don't know if he's caught 30 passes. They need to get more out of these running backs as receivers, and I know that's a goal of Morris this season.
Lou, the 3rd down back. After a gain of 5, here's Morris to the right. He got out of a tackle and gets the 1st down. Armonte Bryant had a hand on him, but the power of the 6th-round pick Morris walked right through.
Well, he just trusts the backside. Press it, and then slice it to the backside and get your pads down. One cut, decisive runner, and Alfred Morris has great vision and balance. He understands that scheme incredibly well, and they block the backside very well.
They retain a lot of the running concepts that Washington had the success as the new offense comes in with Jay Gruden. 1st and 10. Griffin coming back and brought down. Sack and a loss of 10 yards. It was Bryant along with Paul Kruger, the former Raven, combining on the sack.
They've got a lot of people that can rush the passer, and Billy Wynn out of Boise State is one of them. Mike Pettin's team is used to having good pass rushers. They can rush from the inside. Kruger can bring it from the outside. They are a handful, and Mike Pettin, when he was in Buffalo last year, they had as many sacks as any team in pro football, and they arranged their front to rush extremely well.
After the loss of 9, quick toss to Morris. Going to gain good penetration by this Browns team. Going to keep it to a gain of a couple of yards. And it'll be 3rd and long again.
Cleveland made a couple interesting moves on defense. They let T.J. Ward go, and they brought in Dante Whitner, the ex-49er. They also brought in Carlos Dansby, the ex-Arizona Cardinal, to replace DeQuell Jackson. And do I really like what I see from these 2 new Cleveland Browns, or what, Mike? They fit this Pettin scheme perfectly. They're versatile, and they are outstanding leaders.
Great leaders at each position coming into the meeting rooms, DBs and linebackers. 3rd and 17, needing to get to the 35. Griffin looking to take off. And slides down after just a gain of 1.5 yards. Robertson looking to get out quick. And he gets up limping a bit as the flag is downfield.
Holding defense number 23. 5-yard penalty added at the end of the run. Automatic 1st down.
2nd time Joe Hayden's been called there, but the larger concern for Washington, Griffin, who had trouble sliding, if you remember, and going down again, goes down a bit awkwardly here.
You know, Jay Gruden, the ex-Cincinnati offensive coordinator, saw this Cleveland defense twice a year the last 3 years. Got a lot of respect for their personnel. They can do a lot of different things, and with the additions they've made in the secondary, they could be formidable this year.
25, Morris, good lead blocked by Darrell Young, and an 11-yard first down gain before Barkevius Mingo made the tackle. But there's a flag, and down at that spot where the hole busted open. We already had 6 accepted penalties in this first quarter.
There's no foul for offensive holding. First down.
Crowd loves that.
It keeps us on a pace for 24 flags instead of 28 in the game. Redskins finishing in last place again last year, which has been far too often for Washington. 5 times in the last 6 years. They've propped up the division. Griffin throws it, Halou drops it. Incomplete.
That's a nice job by Robert Griffin, staying in the pocket, going through his progression. And as we talked about earlier in the broadcast, they need to get more from this group of running backs catching the football.
Defense number 28. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
And 29, Leon McFadden. We should point out that the Browns are missing 6 cornerbacks in this game. T.J. Heath, K'Wan Williams, Isaiah Trufant, who came over this year, Pierre Desir, Aaron Berry, former Lion and Jet. But the big one's Buster Screen, who could have been a starter for this. He might still be, but injured his thumb when we were in Berea at practice on Friday and had surgery on that thumb today.
False start. Offense number 10. 5-yard penalty. First down.
That's the second time that's been called on Griffin.
Well, they're using a dummy snap count like a lot of quarterbacks do in the league. They put a guy in motion to research the defense, and we'll try to show Griffin to see if he's trying to lure the defense off sides.
That abrupt movement, and it's the referee's call, who watches the quarterback, and Terry McCauley has that as simulating the snap and abrupt. You don't think?
I'll go with the call.
Well, now that we're on a pace for 32 flags in the game, Halou with the carry. And we are thrilled to report that there are no flags on the field after that simple gain of about 7.
Now, it's a credit to these Redskin offensive linemen. When you see Alfred Morris cut the ball back, it's because of tremendous effort on the backside blocks. And sometimes it's on the second level, 4 to 6 yards down the field. You have to be athletic and in shape to do that.
Could be the final play of the quarter. It's going to be a shot downfield. RG3 caught by Andre Roberts.
Andre Roberts thought he was going to be the forgotten man. He signed a big contract to come here from Arizona. And a couple weeks later, in comes Deshaun Jackson. But Roberts can hurt you. Intermediate and deep. And that's a great way to end a quarter.
Gain of 48. No score after 1. Quarter just outside of Washington, D.C. Mike Tirico, John Gruden, Lisa Salters. No score with the Redskins and the Browns. Well, Robert Griffin III struggling a bit here in terms of getting out of the pocket and getting down on this first one, going down awkwardly and perhaps hurting himself here. Very awkward as he comes down with his leg pinned behind him. Then on one hit, got hit hard by multiple players. Here he went down, didn't look to be in any discomfort in terms of a slide, but when he got up, he limped back towards the huddle. Coming off the ACL, injured at the end of 2011. 2012, I should say. Played through it last year. Carry to the left from Morris for 2 yards. John, would you think the goal this year is more of a pocket passer, grow as a more pocket-based quarterback and less of the running with Robert Griffin? But that's what he does best, so it's a bit of a quandary.
Yeah, you don't just flip a switch and all of a sudden become a pocket passer. Went through this with Steve Young early in his career, Randall Cunningham, Brett Favre. This is going to take time.
Right.
It's going to be a process. He's done some nice things in the pocket, but clearly his instinct is to get out and go, and it's not going to be an easy habit to break.
It's the 10th play of the drive, and it's an end zone toss. That's too deep for Garcon. And a flag down there in the corner. Leon McFadden from San Diego State in his second year.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense, half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
Well, it's one-on-one coverage. A lot of times you're in a check-with-me situation here. They're in that bear defense. They audible to the fly pattern, and there's that call again. Illegal contact or defensive holding been prevalent this August.
The first down makes it first and goal. 5 of the Washington first downs have come by penalty. Morris up the middle towards the goal line. And for the moment denied.
That's a good old-fashioned goal line power play. Their new acquisition, Laval, an ex-Cleveland Brown, is going to pull number 77. Good surge.
Plan on the Washington side was to go with the starters for the first quarter, or about 20 plays. So you figure this will be the end of the night for the first team. Play 23 coming up here. And Griffin giving to Morris. Dante Whitner holding on for dear life and pulling him back along with Carlos Dansby.
There is some beef out there for this Browns defense. We met Phil Taylor from Baylor earlier. You see Kitchen out there, number 67. He's got to be 350 pounds, but look at the size of these Cleveland Browns, and they get off blocks extremely well. And there's that new acquisition, number 31, Dante Whitner. Great football player. Run it again.
Play 12 of the drive, right back to it. Morris is denied again. And this Cleveland defense with the surge, you don't get a lot of live goal line the way practices are set up now, 2-a-days and less contact. And Washington can't get in 3 in a row.
A lot of penetration, and this is a great sign for Cleveland Brown fans. They struggled last year with short yardage and goal line defense. That time, Big John Hughes, the ex-Cincinnati Bearcat, made a play. But these are all 300-plus pound defenders. And they have showed up in this situation.
Washington going for it here on 4th and goal. 1.5 yards. Morris left side. And he stopped short of the goal line. Helmet came off as he was pushed back. Oh, and they say touchdown. The Browns were sure they had a stop. But it is ruled a touchdown.
Take a look at yourself. Great individual effort on both sides. And I think Morris's left arm somehow got that ball to pay dirt. What an effort by Morris. And I tip my hat to the Browns goal line defense.
It'll be very close. All scoring plays reviewed. The left hip comes down as he extends the left arm out. It may have just broken the front of that plane. Just watch the ball and watch
The previous play is under review.
Down there. That is right on the line, but it looks like it's over. So they will look at it during this timeout. See if Morris scored on 4th down. This one was very, very close, but here's the ruling from Terry McAuley.
After review, the runner's left knee was down with the ball short of the goal line. It's not a touchdown. The ball belongs to Cleveland. First down.
Well, the Browns come up with the goal line stand. It's better that this was in the preseason and not in a playoff game. This is so close. Watch as his knee comes down where the ball is. It's just inches away from the front of the plane, and Trent Williams' big leg is in the way. So, want to make an impact, Johnny Manziel. Got 99 yards and a half, as Dom Meredith once said on a Monday night, to deal with his second drive. 3 and out on the opening drive. And a timeout taken by Washington. Back for Manziel's second drive in a moment. All right, we will stay here as the Redskins get their players sorted out defensively. Second drive is mentioned. The 2 drives, if you're just joining us, for Brian Hoyer were both 3 and outs. Cleveland has 9 plays and 17 yards here tonight. They have not completed a pass. Ben Tate runs it off the goal line for a yard. Given just the 9 plays, the Redskins' first-team defense remains out there for this 4th Cleveland drive.
Turnovers have been the big story. Washington's turned it over twice offensively and been held, obviously, in a goal line situation. Critical that they get the ball back to their offense in this field position. And let's see if Johnny Manziel can knock it off the goal line for the Brown offense.
Second and 9 from his own end zone. Manziel resets and throws it complete to Marquise Gray. Will give him a lot of space in the first down, just shy of the 20-yard line. That's the Browns' first down of the evening.
I love what he did there. You want to take a shot to Josh on the left side of your screen. He's not going to be open. And watch Manziel reset his feet, find his fullback, number 47, out of the backfield. Excellent job keeping his feet alive. Back in his own end zone. Want to take a shot to Josh Gordon. It's not there. Find your check down. Good work.
From the 19, the first down play pass, thrown incomplete, intended again for Gordon. And as with the other 3 passes tonight, John, the timing's been terrible for Cleveland.
Well, this Brown pass offense is all set up around their zone stretch running game. That time Manziel turns his back to the defense. He fakes that zone stretch, flips his head around. He's late to pick up Josh Gordon again. Ball's thrown low.
Should have said the other 3 downfield passes. The check down obviously worked out just fine to Marquise Gray. Second and 10, snap a little high, got it down in time, and Tate will use the sideline to get to the 24-yard line. And a penalty marker down late. And Joel Bitonio, the rookie guard for the Browns, was engaged with one of the Redskins.
Personal foul, grasping the face mask, defense number 56. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
And Perry Riley was that Redskin, called for the flag, and will give Manziel good field position here as he and Brian Hoyer share the first-team reps tonight to see who will be Cleveland's starter for the opener against Pittsburgh.
And it's good to see Travis Benjamin, number 11, back in the lineup, Mike. He's an excellent return man, blazing speed, another weapon that the Browns need back in their attack.
Manziel's first game action with the starters, with the ones, only with the backups in Detroit last weekend. Tate, nice cutback, got a good little block for space from Benjamin, but Keenan Robinson comes through, and yes, there's a flag on the play.
First down.
On Cleveland. But John, when we go back to that first game against Detroit and we looked at these numbers, it jumped out to you all the pistol formations we saw Manziel in compared to Hoyer.
When I think of the pistol, I think of a quarterback-driven run offense. And you see 14 snaps to 2, 3 zone reads to 0. Cleveland has the capability of running a lot of quarterback-driven runs out of the pistol with Manziel where they don't with Hoyer. It's a matter of where they want to go offensively.
It has not been pistol a lot for Manziel here in the first 2 series. That handoff to the rookie Terrence West. He's the 3rd-round pick out of Towson. And Barry Cofield with the tackle. And John, you have a new offense. You have a new quarterback whose skill set is not pro football ready. Kyle Shanahan went through this with RG3 and now has to do this as he puts an offense in that Manziel can handle as a rookie.
Well, he's won games in this league as a coordinator with Matt Schaub, a pocket passer. He adapted to Robert Griffin. Now he's got to sort things out in Cleveland, and they've got a ways to go to figure that out, it looks like.
2nd and 18. This slant again. Gordon had to slow down for it. Couldn't pull it in. Hey, so we've seen passes behind everybody on anything downfield tonight. Does that have anything to do with the one splitting reps with Hoyer and Manziel and the timing not being just right?
Possibly. Anytime you're changing quarterbacks, usually you have your first-team receivers working with your first-team quarterback, but when you're flipping reps, sometimes there's some indecision and you don't read the body mechanics of your receiving group quite the same. And that's been an indication tonight.
Washington bringing 5 on 3rd and 18. Manziel on the move, throws on the run and just gets rid of it as the pressure was coming. And another flag on the play.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense number 30. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
E.J. Biggers in, and then another flag thrown.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. Washington bench, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Is that your brother?
I don't know where he got that from, Mike. 3rd and 18. Frustration. A lot of penalties tonight. You have to find a way to keep your poise and play through it. But clearly he did not like that call.
Jim Haslett and Jay Gruden were both yelling at the referee, and Terry McAuley throws the flag. Not sure who it was on exactly. Shy of midfield, Manziel on the move on time. On target and complete to Andrew Hawkins for the first down at the Washington 39.
It's this zone stretch running game. When you run the zone stretch, you get everything else that comes with it, including the bootlegs. Get the flow going one way and the quarterback going the other, and that's a nice throw by Johnny Manziel outside the pocket.
This drive started at the 1 and is the best looking thing Cleveland's done offensively in the first 21 minutes here tonight. Miles Austin over from the Cowboys in the slot at the top of the screen. Number 19 for Cleveland. Little zone read, and Manziel keeping, and Washington all over that. Ryan Clark and D'Angelo Hall cleaning up and closing down.
Well, there's another zone read out of the pistol. It's a play that Robert Griffin brought to the NFL. We're going to read the end man on the line of scrimmage, and if he closes, you keep it. But you see the ex-Pittsburgh Steeler, Ryan Clark, number 25, just waiting for Johnny Manziel. And just worry about your quarterback keeping a ball on these running plays.
Second and 11, pressure up the middle, picked up. Jordan Cameron couldn't get to it. Tate gave Manziel just a half a second before Perry Riley Jr. got there.
Got a blitz coming on his left side. He's got to get to his hot receiver. He's well recognized. Quick release. Look at Derek Jeter turning these double plays. That's what Manziel said. He studies Derek Jeter and he tries to unload the quick game just like the captain does for the New York Yankees. He's good at it.
Some of the time you spent with Manziel, Gruden's quarterback camp, leading up to the May draft. Redskins bringing pressure. Manziel throws incomplete. Looking towards Gordon. Jim Haslett, so good at bringing pressure for Washington that time, forced it out early.
Well, Johnny Manziel needs to see it. It's all-out blitz. There's only 3 defensive backs to cover the 3 Cleveland Browns receivers. You're going to be one short in pass protection. Manziel needs to change the pattern or change the protection that time. The veteran Jim Haslett, defensive coordinator of the Redskins, gets the rookie quarterback.
Lanning with the punt. And fair caught by Santana Moss, still going strong. 13 years now at the 13-yard line. 11 plays and 60 yards. Drove it off the goal line, but nothing to show. ESPN NFL preseason special is brought to you by Sin City, a game to kill for. In theaters everywhere Friday, not yet rated. And NFLshop.com, find the largest selection of jerseys and hats at the official store of the NFL. FedEx Field, just outside of Washington, in its 18th year. Johnny Manziel had his couple of series, and now Brian Hoyer is again warming up. That's likely it for the Washington first-team defense. Neither set of quarterback numbers impressive for Cleveland. They've combined to go 2 of 9 in the passing game. So the Redskins go to their second-team offense, and Kirk Cousins, third-year quarterback, is in there. Passes out to Roy Halou, and that'll be stopped at the 21-yard line. Gain of 5.5, and another marker.
It's like a face mask, Mike, on Mingo.
And John, let's talk about Kirk Cousins, who came in the same draft with Robert Griffin III. Had a couple of opportunities to start. Started the last 3 games last year when the Washington season had gone completely south.
I like Cousins. He's been the subject of a lot of trade rumors here for obvious reasons. And Kyle Shanahan, the offensive coordinator of the Cleveland Browns, is one of the teams rumored to try to get Cousins.
There's
But
no foul for grasping the face mask. Second down.
25-year-old quarterback. He's got a quick arm. Played at Michigan State. 2-time captain. A lot of good things in Kirk Cousins' game.
Did a tremendous job in his rookie season when Griffin got hurt, saving a game, winning a start. That start that he won was against Cleveland on the road. He saved that game against Baltimore. An overtime victory here. This carry just for a yard. To the left, Billy Wynn, tackle.
And it's what you can do. If you're a Cleveland Brown, you could jump into this Bear defense, cover the center, cover both guards, play an 8-man front, and dare a quarterback to throw the ball at Joe Hayden, number 23. On the other side, you have Justin Gilbert, number 21, the 8th pick in the draft, and that's been a big part of Cleveland's defensive plan tonight.
Again, this is Cleveland's starters against the Redskins' second-team offense. And on 3rd and 2, Cousins over the top complete. Andre Roberts remains in there in that third down receiver role. And Washington has a first down.
One of the things they've been working on here fundamentally, stay tall in the pocket. Watch Kirk Cousins go through his drop and stay tall in the pocket to see over the trees and get to his secondary receiver. Nice job by the third-year pro. You got to alter your arm angles, especially in third down and 2 to 4 when you're throwing a ball into the middle of the defense.
First down, Cousins shot down the middle is deflected and intercepted with the flag down in the back as Deshaun Gibson returns it inside the 20 and is brought down at the 15-yard line. And check the flag back there in the secondary.
Ball sailed on Cousins. Protection was good. It's going to be tipped in the middle of the field by Robinson, and that's a nice play by a ball-hawking safety. Deshaun Gibson, who a lot of people think could have been the MVP of the Cleveland Browns last year. He's an emerging center fielder that can come down in the box and do a lot of things. They love him. Young player out of Wyoming.
Undrafted player in his 3rd year. Now we'll be alongside Dante Whitner, very formidable safety group.
There's no foul for unnecessary roughness. First down.
They call the contact that went up by the helmet of the intended receiver, but Gibson comes up with the pick, and that is the 3rd Washington turnover of this first half.
And that's what hurt the Redskins last year. They were -8 in the turnover margin. They struggled at the beginning of games, and 3 turnovers and a goal line stand will frustrate any head coach.
So Brian Hoyer will get this opportunity with good field position at the Washington 15. Hoyer throws the slant. It's Gordon who caught it and dropped it. It'll be ruled incomplete. On the play, Tracy Porter, who was added this year to this Washington team as a free agent with the Cubs. Well, Hoyer was 0 for 2 before that pass, so you combine them now, they are 2 of 10 here tonight. The only drive Cleveland picked up first down on was the last drive. Manziel leading it, starting from their own 1-yard line. They went 11 plays and 60 yards, but eventually had to punt. So neither quarterback is giving you a world of confidence to believe they should be the guy so far. Ben Tate carries to the 12-yard line. And John, we should point out here, the evaluation has to go beyond just the performance in these 2 preseason games because there's such inequity. First-teamers on defense, second-teamers on defense. A lot of it's going to go back to what Mike Pettine and his staff saw in all the practices back in Berea during training camp.
Yeah, and we watched carefully the Browns practice, and to me, Hoyer should be the opening day starter. He's got more experience. He's been around this league. He's seen a lot of different defenses, and Johnny Football needs a little more seasoning. But Mike Pettine will let us know probably middle of this week.
3rd and 6 for Hoyer in the red zone. Over the top, incomplete. Here looking for Andrew Hawkins. Couldn't find the spot in the zone, and it's 4th down, and the field goal unit will come on again.
And I say that with the understanding that when plays are there to be made, you got to make them. And Andrew Hawkins is open on a post pattern. That ball's poorly thrown. That should be an easy touchdown for the Cleveland Browns. When people are open and the protection is there, those are the plays that must be made, and that cannot please Kyle Shanahan or Mike Pettine. Disappointing.
Billy Cundiff made 4 field goals in the Browns preseason opener, 1 in each quarter. From 29 yards out, he gives us the first points of the night. 25 minutes to get there. Cousins' interception turned into great field position for the Browns. The opportunity for a touchdown was missed. They get 3. Hope of the season in 3 weeks in downtown Detroit. Eli Manning and the Giants taking on Calvin Johnson and the Lions. And the second game of the Monday Night Football season opening doubleheader from Arizona. The Chargers, who made the playoffs last year, and the Cardinals, who almost made it. Monday Night Football doubleheader at special time. Be with you 7:10 Eastern for kickoff from Detroit. That one hits the crossbar on the kickoff, so automatically dead ball on the big leg from Billy Cundiff. And Washington will take over at its own 20. I worked with John Gruden. Jay Gruden's now the coach of the Redskins. He was the coach in the Arena League in Orlando, and then had a chance to coach the Florida Tuskers, the brief run of the UFL that was there. And go back to Jay's playing days, John. He's a Hall of Fame player as a quarterback in the Arena League. But that head coaching experience, especially in those other leagues, really was more than just being a head coach. There was a lot of responsibility that went with that as well.
Yeah, he was in charge of a budget. He had to hire coaches. He had to find players, release players. He had to sell tickets, market his football team, and make a lot of tough decisions. So that experience will serve him well, without a doubt.
Cousins hands off, and Roy Halou Jr. gets back to the original line of scrimmage. And not much more as Jamal Sherrod makes the tackle. Good player for Cleveland. As Jay takes this job over, it's definitely a change. There was certainly discomfort around the organization as things spiraled out of control last year. But to use the words of folks who were around here last year, and there's a camaraderie, there's no drama. It's been a stress or tension-free camp, if you will, as the Redskins try to get things turned right back in a positive direction. As to Ryan Grant, 5th-round pick rookie out of Tulane, with the catch. One of the common bonds for both of you is Bruce Allen, of course. George Allen, the legendary figure here with Washington. Bruce, his son, and it now has the title of president and general manager of this franchise.
I'll say this about Bruce Allen. He loves the Redskins. He's got a great vision. He knows they have a lot of work to do. They won 3 games last year, and with that comes a lot of frustration.
3rd and 1 for Cousins, who will throw for it, and it's incomplete. The coverage by McFadden, as the pass was intended for Aldrick Robinson. And 3 and out for Washington. We'll get it back to Cleveland with 3:44 to go.
Give McFadden credit. Bump and run coverage. Little slant pattern by Robinson. And these Cleveland Brown defensive backs have been wearing boxing gloves on the practice field to try to clean up their hands so they can't hold, and look pretty good there.
Punting battle in camp. Robert Malone with this kick. The former Jet, Jim Leonard. Back to receive, and Leonard's pulled down to the 33-yard line. Leonard's been in multiple places, including Buffalo last year, as part of Mike Pettine's defense. Oh, so much conversation about Johnny Manziel as the future of this Cleveland quarterback position. Everywhere you look in the media, you hear about it. Brian Hoyer's had to listen to it by avoiding the media and not listening.
I'm almost living in the 70s or the 80s right now, and for me, I'm just concerned about what's going on in this building, and it's made my life really simple. I think, I was under-recruited, undrafted, had to fight my way to make a team, was cut, got hurt, got a chance to start, got hurt. To me, might be the easiest part of my career.
It's been an interesting time for a guy who is from Cleveland, St. Ignatius High School, had the thrill of the success, albeit brief, with the 2 wins and then getting injured against Buffalo last year. So he's just had to go back to old school and avoid all noise, all conversation, all social media, not check the internet, to try to keep from getting involved in the politics of who's going to be the quarterback for the Browns. Tate, a carry for 9 yards.
Well, he's an excellent competitor, and he's got to find a way to get a completion and get in some kind of rhythm. This Brown pass offense staring at just 2 completions. And it's an awkward group of receivers. We know Gordon's status is lingering. That has to be a huge distraction. They're a great receiver here at the bottom of the screen, and why he's playing this much, I really don't know, Mike.
Just shy of the 42. Here's Tate with the carry, bounces it to the outside, and picks up the first down at the 44-yard line. Tackled by Rob Jackson. Let's get into this Gordon story. So he led the league in receiving yards last year, even though he missed the first 2 games because he was suspended. A league suspension that was 4 and was rolled back to 2 for violating the substance abuse policy. And now there's another suspension for violating that policy again. It could be a year. It could be a half a year. We don't know. There's an appeal process going on. There are no signs that he's going to be playing, at least for the first half of the season, yet he's allowed to play in the preseason games as they await the decision from the arbiter. This is Marquise Gray into Washington territory, the 45, then the ball comes out right near the 43-yard line. After Gray picked up the first down, and the Redskins have it.
That's a great play by Kenyon Rambo. Bakari Rambo, I should say, number 24, puts his shoulder on the ball. It's clearly out. Let's check the recovery. And Bakari Rambo, who was criticized heavily for his inability to tackle last season, comes up with a huge impact tackle for this Redskin defense.
It was trapped underneath the legs of Gray, and Bashaud Breeland comes up with the first Cleveland turnover of the night.
Rambo started the first 2 games last year, was benched, came back against Kansas City and had more struggles. But I thought he tackled very well last week against the Patriots, and that's an impact play that they desperately need from the safety position.
Waiting for confirmation of the turnover.
This play is under review.
And the replay booth automatically called the turnover on the field. Felt like they needed to take a look at it. So they will. And we'll step out. Terry McCauley looking at this in replay as the ball was clearly out in a fumble. It's hard to see the recovery as Gray had it under his legs, but that doesn't mean he had control of it. Should stay with Washington.
After review, the fumble is confirmed and the ruling on the field stands. First down, Washington.
And that's why he says the ruling on the field stands. You can't see the clear recovery in replay, but since on the field it was ruled Washington recovered, it stays that way. Bit of a change this year because if there's a clear recovery the other way, they could overturn it, something they couldn't do last year. But remember that play when Navarro Bowman was hurt in the NFC Championship game, San Francisco-Seattle. Thus, they've adjusted the rule. Replay showed that Cleveland clearly recovered that. They would have been able to keep the ball. Washington back with it. And Kirk Cousins' third drive, and his pass is incomplete as it's deflected by Armonte Bryant.
So Armonte Bryant is an interesting football player. East Central, Oklahoma, 7th-round draft choice. Has snuck up on a lot of people, Mike. Had a couple sacks, 12 pressures late last year. He can rush from a defensive end position, or he can rush inside. Very athletic, big upside.
Fans entertaining themselves by doing the wave, indicative of the half. Cousins is sacked by Bryant. On cue, John, he makes back-to-back plays. And a loss of 9 takes us to the 2-minute warning.
He's a standout player to me. He impressed me on the practice field. He impressed me on tape, and he's impressing me tonight. Armonte Bryant. Don't forget that name.
Washington ball at its own 35-yard line, facing 3rd and long. Robert Griffin played the first 3 series for Washington and had him moving on the 2nd and the 3rd series. Turnover on the 2nd series. Goal line stand by the Browns on that 3rd series. The series 3 for Kirk Cousins gets it in the hands of Santana Moss. He's still got it. First down, Moss into Cleveland territory at the 41-yard line. 35 years old, 14th year in the league.
I've seen Moss as the #1 receiver. Last year I saw him as the #3 receiver. A lot of people think he's the #5 guy and on the bubble, but what a big play by Santana Moss in a difficult long yardage situation.
Gain of 24. Cousins jumps into the 2-minute, takes a shot downfield, and Aldrick Robinson couldn't haul it in.
Aldrick Robinson, to me, is an important Washington Redskin. We know Deshaun Jackson is going to provide some deep speed, but you need another man on the practice field to emulate Jackson. And to have Aldrick Robinson, another speedy receiver, it gives you 2 weapons that can really help you work hard on your down-the-field pass offense. That time he clearly got on top of coverage.
It's interesting. Just to give it a look during the week because Jackson can't give you the full-out sprinting 7 days a week.
That's exactly right, Mike.
So many things go into constructing a roster. 2nd and 10. And coming back to the ball nicely is Ryan Grant. Johnny, he's made a good impact in camp. You can see the way he runs routes and is a good hands catcher.
Really is. We're all excited to see Garcon and Deshaun Jackson and Santana Moss and Roberts, and all they talk about is Grant. That time he runs a nice comeback pattern and comes back to meet the football. You like to see that.
Pressure from Cleveland. Cousins gets it out again. That sails on him a bit for Aldrick Robinson, and incomplete.
This is what Mike Pettine brings to Cleveland. Some exotic blitzes in passing situations. Watch the overload blitz come from your left side. Sometimes it'll be 3 Cleveland Browns. Sometimes it'll be 4. And if you're not on top of your pass protections, you will get sacked. Last year, over 50 sacks for the Buffalo Bills. Mike Pettine sent 4 Buffalo Bill defenders to the Pro Bowl.
Doug Marone's defensive coordinator at Orchard Park last year. Here comes more pressure. It's picked up and over the middle. Perfect strike to the 2-yard line for Evan Royster, the 4th-year back out of Penn State.
Halfback choice. That's what they need. They need to get these backs organized in their pass offense. He has a 2-way go. Halou does, coming out of the backfield. They catch him one-on-one against the defensive end in a zone blitz, and Halou should dominate in that situation. Nice work.
Balsher getting caught.
Actually, that's Royster, Mike. That's Evan Royster, the ex-Penn State Nittany Lion, making his bid to be the 3rd down back.
24-yard pickup down to the 2-yard line. And 32 seconds left, so Washington will try to punch this in, which they could not do earlier when they got down to the 1-yard line. We're stopped trying to run the ball.
These offensive linemen, they know if we don't get it in this goal line situation, I know what Jay Gruden will have on the practice script tomorrow and the next day and the next day.
A couple of rookies in there for Washington. 76, Morgan Moses. And number 60, Spencer Long, both third-round picks from Virginia and Nebraska, respectively. The two, Cousins, broken up by Justin Gilbert, the first-round pick, the 8th overall pick of the draft out of Oklahoma State.
That's what you go get a corner for in the top of the first round. Look at Gilbert find the ball late and use those long arms and that length to his advantage. Boy, he looks the part, Mike. Very athletic. Didn't play last week against the Lions. Don't know if he'll be able to be the opening day starter, but he's got a bright future in this Brown secondary.
The man who got hurt, Buster Screen, was a thumb injury. Very good corner. From the two, handoff inside with Royster. Works his way into the end zone for the Washington touchdown. Washington ball at its own 35-yard line, facing 3rd and long. Robert Griffin played the first 3 series for Washington and had him moving on the 2nd and the 3rd series. Turnover on the 2nd series. Goal line stand by the Browns on that 3rd series. Series 3 for Kirk Cousins. Gets it in the hands of Santana Moss. He's still got it. First down, Moss into Cleveland territory at the 41-yard line. 35 years old, 14th year in the league.
I've seen Moss as the number 1 receiver. Last year I saw him as the number 3 receiver. A lot of people think he's the number 5 guy and on the bubble, but what a big play by Santana Moss in a difficult long yardage situation.
Gain of 24. Cousins jumps into the 2-minute, takes a shot downfield, and Aldrick Robinson couldn't haul it in.
Aldrick Robinson, to me, is an important Washington Redskin. We know Deshaun Jackson is going to provide some deep speed, but you need another man on the practice field to emulate Jackson. And to have Aldrick Robinson, another speedy receiver, it gives you 2 weapons that can really help you work hard on your down-the-field pass offense. That time, he clearly got on top of coverage.
It's interesting. Just give it a look during the week because Jackson can't give you the full-out sprinting 7 days a week.
That's exactly right, Mike.
So many things go into constructing a roster. 2nd and 10. And coming back to the ball nicely is Ryan Grant. John, he's made a good impact in camp. You can see the way he runs routes and is a good hands catcher.
Really is. We're all excited to see Garcon and Deshaun Jackson and Santana Moss and Roberts, and all they talk about is Grant. That time he runs a nice comeback pattern and comes back to meet the football. You like to see that.
Pressure from Cleveland. Cousins gets it out again. That sails on him a bit for Aldrick Robinson, but incomplete.
This is what Mike Pettine brings to Cleveland. Some exotic blitzes in passing situations. Watch the overload blitz come from your left side. Sometimes it'll be 3 Cleveland Browns. Sometimes it'll be 4. And if you're not on top of your pass protections, you will get sacked. Last year, over 50 sacks for the Buffalo Bills. Mike Pettine sent 4 Buffalo Bill defenders to the Pro Bowl.
Doug Marone's defensive coordinator at Orchard Park last year. Here comes more pressure. It's picked up and over the middle. Perfect strike to the 2-yard line for Evan Royster, the 4th-year back out of Penn State.
Halfback choice. That's what they need. They need to get these backs organized in their pass offense. He has a 2-way go. Halou does, coming out of the backfield. They catch him one-on-one against the defensive end in a zone blitz, and Halou should dominate in that situation. Nice work.
Ball Sherrod getting caught.
Actually, that's Royster, Mike. That's Evan Royster, the ex-Penn State Nittany Lion, making his bid to be the 3rd down back.
24-yard pickup down to the 2-yard line. And 32 seconds left, so Washington will try to punch this in, which they could not do earlier when they got down to the 1-yard line. We're stopped trying to run the ball.
These offensive linemen, they know if we don't get it in this goal line situation, I know what Jay Gruden will have on the practice script tomorrow and the next day and the next day.
A couple of rookies in there for Washington. 76, Morgan Moses. And number 60, Spencer Long, both 3rd-round picks from Virginia and Nebraska, respectively. The 2, Cousins, broken up by Justin Gilbert, the first-round pick, the 8th overall pick of the draft out of Oklahoma State.
That's what you go get a corner for in the top of the first round. Look at Gilbert find the ball late and use those long arms and that length to his advantage. Boy, he looks the part, Mike. Very athletic. Didn't play last week against the Lions. Don't know if he'll be able to be the opening day starter, but he's got a bright future in this Brown secondary.
The man who got hurt, Buster Screen, was a thumb injury. Very good corner. From the 2, handoff inside with Royster. Works his way into the end zone for the Washington touchdown. The exact halfway point of the NFL preseason. 32 played, 32 more to come after tonight. Halftime here, Washington 7, Cleveland 3. Mike Tirico, John Gruden. We'll check with Lisa Salters in a little bit. That was bad. Cleveland quarterback deal, and maybe Brian Sipe can come back and try. It wasn't very good. So what do you do if you're Mike Pettine? Do you continue to see more of Manziel or Hoyer in the second half?
I'm going to stay with Johnny Manziel for sure. I'll probably let Brian Hoyer watch for the rest of the night, but Manziel's a rookie. He needs a lot of work, but Hoyer was out of rhythm tonight. The timing wasn't good. Location was off. The third down play in a red zone could have changed this game. Just not a good night for Hoyer, and Johnny Manziel hasn't been better. Not sure if Cameron is supposed to stay on the move or not, but inaccurate passes, suspect pass protection, and both quarterbacks combined have 4 completions in 13 attempts. I'm going to let Manziel work some more. If I'm Mike Pettine, I'd be surprised if he didn't.
Manziel getting 2 full drives, Hoyer getting 4. The Browns had 27 plays and 84 yards in that first half. And half those yards came on what John had alluded to, those completions. So really the other plays were about 23 plays for 42 yards. Unimpressive first half offensively for Cleveland. Billy Cundiff kicks it off, and it moves towards the out-of-bounds line, but does not go out of bounds. Then Aldrick Robinson picks it up and steps out. Washington ball at the 11. Here's Lisa Salters.
Hey, Mike, well, I asked Jay Gruden what his thoughts were about that first half, and he said, I gave a great pregame pep talk talking about protecting the ball, and then we went out and had 3 turnovers and 6 penalties, so obviously that didn't work. He said, obviously we got to play better in the second half. And he said he's really looking forward to seeing the young guys in this second half. He said, we've had really good practices, and I really want to see that it carries over to the game situation. As for Mike Pettine, I asked him about his 2 quarterbacks. He said statistically, neither was great. You could tell that there were some nervous throws behind people. Balls were low. I asked him if either one of them stood out, and he said, not really. He said, you know, got a little bit more production with Johnny Manziel. He said, but it's just too close to pick one or the other based on that half.
All right, Lisa, thank you. So we'll watch to see how it goes in the second half. Connor Shaw is the other quarterback. So that ball that was ruled didn't go out of bounds, did go out of bounds, as it was lying on the sideline, so we'll move it up to the 40.
All right.
It just adds to the penalty total, John. Kirk Cousins remains in at quarterback. Colt McCoy, by the way, is the 3rd-string quarterback for Washington. Silas Redd on the carry. We'll give him a yard. Ishmaeli Kitchen on the stop.
Well, when you have 245 yards, you should have more points. Opening possession, Alfred Morris drops a simple pitch. Then you're in a red zone again. 3rd and 14, you turn the ball over. Goal-to-goal situation, 4 straight runs. You can't get it in from 1 yard, and then Kirk Cousins overthrows Robinson in the middle of the field. They turned it over 34 times last year. -8 in the turnover ratio, and Jay Gruden can't like that.
Cousins' pass is complete. Niles Paul gets it just shy of midfield. Chris Kirksey made the tackle. That's a player you want to keep an eye on in the second half. 58 for Cleveland. He's their 3rd-round pick out of Iowa, and a very good linebacker who's impressed the Browns.
Yeah, he's in a battle with Robertson for that inside linebacker position. An excellent coverage man. That time Niles Paul, a jack of all trades in this Redskin offense, beat him on an option route.
3rd and a long yard, and it is Redd. And he'll have the first down into Cleveland territory at almost at the 49, just shy of it.
Excuse me, Mike. Good thing about working with you is I get to do a lot of cool events. We did the Outback Bowl a few years ago, and we met Silas Redd.
And Redd, yeah.
As a freshman running back. 2 years later, he transferred to Southern Cal. He's had a strange college career, but he has really made an impact in this Redskin backfield. He's in a battle for a roster spot, but they like what they've seen.
I thought you were going to talk about Kirksey. You saw last year.
You're right.
Justin Brown's territory. Cousins throws. It is complete to Ryan Grant. And the rookie comes back and drops a couple of yards. Still a gain of about 7.
A couple of years ago, Curtis Johnson, a receiver coach of the New Orleans Saints, really stood out as one of the great receiver coaches that I've seen work on the practice field. He became the head coach at Tulane, and there's his prize protege right there, Ryan Grant, number 14. Middle round draft choice, shows a lot of polish for a young wideout.
He's up at the top of the screen. Cousins throws behind, but a good job by Aldrick Robinson to come back and get it at the 31 to pick up a 13 and a first down.
What a catch. That ball's clearly away from his body. He's in traffic, and Robinson makes another catch. He scored last week against New England. Coming from right to left on a little over route on the backside of a bootleg. That's an excellent catch. And a nice job of securing the grab in traffic.
I like this receiver group. We mentioned the top 3, as you mentioned before, John. Deshaun Jackson, Pierre Garçon, and Andre Roberts. But we're seeing Robinson, Grant, the veteran Santana Moss. Cousins throws complete again to Robinson. That's to the 24. Let's not forget Leonard Hankerson coming off a knee injury as he tries to rehab. Missed all of 2013. So that plus the tight end Jordan Reed and Logan Paulson. Niles Paul, who you see 84. There are people who catch the ball here in Washington.
Kirk Cousins has impressed me in these last 10 or 12 throws. Very animated, good leader.
24. It is 24. Red with a nice cut back to take it to the 14-yard line. The first down. Good drive here for Washington to start the third.
A great cut. It's going to be a zone stretch. He's going to cut it all the way back. Watch how active his feet are. Disciplined course. Nice cutback running. Silas Red had a knee injury his last year in Southern Cal. He's healthy again. He can catch it. He can run it. He's in the mix here.
Red started his career at Penn State, went to USC when players were allowed to leave Penn State after the sanctions from the Jerry Sandusky case. Up top to the end zone, Ryan Grant. Good looking drive for Washington, capped off with a rookie's touchdown.
You can see why you like corners if you're Mike Pettine. You want to play that Bear defense. They played it the entire first half. You need Joe Hayden on the outside. Number 40, Royce Adams is no match for Grant, who beat him bad on the line of scrimmage with a single move release. Touchdown Washington. Kid can play, Mike.
You have tough decisions to make because of the quality of your receiving core. That will happen in Washington come cut down. Zach Hawker on. And the rookie from Arkansas makes the 33-yard extra point. Cousins looked quite good on that drive. Capped off with a touchdown pass. 14-3, Washington. This ESPN NFL preseason special is brought to you by ESPNFanshop.com. Powered by Dick's Sporting Goods. Mike Tirico, John Gruden, Lisa Salters, FedEx Field in Landover. It's a dozen miles from the White House. Kirk Cousins looked really good in that drive. I know we have both been big fans of Cousins since watching him with Michigan State, and very solid on that drive. It's like there's a purpose to everything and a direction of where the ball's going.
Like him a lot. I like all 3 of these quarterbacks. You're going to see Colt McCoy, the ex-Longhorn from the University of Texas, in a minute. Look out.
Anthony Armstrong brought down by Hawker, the kicker, trying to win a job and showing he can make a tackle at the 46-yard line. Armstrong used to play here with Washington, and it gives good field position to Johnny Manziel to try again to show that he belongs as the starter. Preseason game 2, struggle in the first half for Manziel, adjusting to a pro-style offense.
It's way different ends of the spectrum for sure. I mean, going from never huddling at all at A&M, really running as many plays as we can, really almost turbo 24/7 for us. And then to come in, we're in a huddle, you have a different cadence, you have protections, you have a way thicker playbook, and it's just different. And I think the things that we're doing here, I like the concepts that we have. I like the offensive scheme that we have. I think Kyle has done a good job of helping me ease me in and get comfortable as this process has gone on.
Completion out of the pistol to Charles Johnson, and a Washington penalty. We'll add 15 on as Trent Murphy, the Redskins rookie, roughed the passer and hit Manziel.
Let's take a look at it. Manziel, a quick throw to the outside.
It's going low.
Going low. Murphy, the second-round pick. NCAA sack leader last year at Stanford.
So it takes it. Completion of the penalty to the 35. It's Terrence West from Towson for a couple of yards. John, how much of a difficult adjustment is it for Manziel calling plays in this offense compared to A&M last year?
It's a big difference, Mike. All you got to do is sit down with him. I mean, you got to call the formation, the motion. You got to call the snap count. You got to alert him for the audible. He's never been in a huddle, ever. So you're looking at Johnny Manziel in the huddle for the first time. You got to stare at your teammates. You got to speak clearly. You got to say it fast. You got to give some reminders, and it's clearly a work in progress. It was for Brett Favre. It was for a lot of young guys I've been around.
Manziel put on the brakes, tried to get it to Gary Barnidge, the tight end, and that pass incomplete. Manziel working with the second team here. This is the first drive with the second teamers for Cleveland's offense.
Just look at the substitutions for the Browns. They're going from one personnel grouping to another. So Manziel has to spit out the personnel grouping. Here they've only got 10 in the huddle. Here comes Gabriel, number 18. Now they've got 11. Now he's behind in the clock, so he's got to say the play quickly. He's not getting it from the sidelines. They're going to have to take a timeout here.
Sure are.
These are painful lessons that you see every year in training camp. That's why you need a lot of practice time, a lot of preseason work, and that's why I think Hoyer should start the season for the Browns. It just comes a lot easier to the veteran.
Manziel clearly trying to get the play call and wasn't getting it in his helmet from Kyle Shanahan, and that happens. The helmet communication goes down, the plays are long, you got to spit them out. Some guys we see very often early in their career wear the wristband to call the plays to make the system move a bit faster.
Hey, they have these new headsets, Kyle Shanahan. They got these new headsets, all this new technology. It doesn't matter how clear it sounds in these fancy headsets. If the quarterback doesn't understand it, it really doesn't matter. And Manziel has never been in these waters before, and he hasn't seen defenses like this either. Mike Pettin all summer, and now he's got to see Jim Haslett. And Washington doesn't tip their hand. They're very good on third down.
Here comes the pressure on 3rd and 7. Got rid of it quick. Gabriel underneath. A couple of yards shy of the first down. Tracked down by Trent Murphy. And let's see what Cleveland will do on 4th and 2.
That's why you like Trent Murphy. The blitz is going to come from the bottom of the screen. Somebody has to read out of the blitz and make the tackle, but it's an overload blitz. Ball's thrown to the hot receiver, and good effort in pursuit from the rookie out of Stanford. Blitz doesn't mean man-to-man. You could get zone pressures. You could get all-out pressures. You could get anything from Jim Haslett. Here come the Browns in 4th down and 2.
Regular season is probably a field goal attempt. A good chance to see Manziel work here. And he fires in a tight spot. Armstrong got hit, and it's incomplete, and Washington will take over.
Number 26, Breeland, a rookie out of Clemson. A lot of people think he could be an outstanding safety. That time, Breeland knocks the ball loose for the second time, an impact hit for the former Clemson Tiger.
Well, checking Twitter today, if you follow Dale Jr., game day, huge Redskins fan, has that helmet that's signed by RG3, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. is here tonight and standing by on the sideline with Lisa Salters.
Thank you, Mike. Well, Dale, we saw the tweet that you sent out today. Tell me what that was about.
Well, I was just seeing if Robert was ready for the game. Me and him swapped helmets last year, and that was the one he gave me. I gave him the helmet I won Michigan with in 2012, so I thought he liked that. I thought that was pretty cool.
How did you become such a huge Washington fan?
My mom lived in Norfolk for many, many years, and when I was young in the early 80s, there wasn't a team around in the Carolinas, so you were either a Washington fan or you pulled for Atlanta. So my mom being from Norfolk, I pulled for Washington.
What's your favorite memory of this team as a kid growing up?
When they won the Super Bowl in '82, the run with Riggins, that whole game, I even watched that game today. Just that was the first game I saw. I watched it today, like in a figurative sense. But I've always been a fan, but that was the first game I saw as a kid and remember what was going on, and I picked them as my team because of that game, and so that's probably my favorite memory.
A lot of changes this year for this team. New coaches, new offense, year 3 for Robert Griffin. What are you expecting to see out of this team this year?
I think they have tons of talent, a lot of new depth, a lot of good depth, and if all these guys can figure out how to play together, I think they can go a long ways. Shouldn't have a hard time making the playoffs, but got a lot of depth and a new regime, new coaching. So if they can coach them up, they'll get it done because they got the talent.
I know that he plays on the other side, but game recognizes game, right? Your thoughts on Johnny Manziel?
It's been hard to see tonight. It's hard to see in these preseason games. I think I'd have put him in there for a full quarter instead of pulling him out every other series. Let the guy get his feet under his legs or get his feet under him and play him a little bit. But going in and out with the quarterbacks, I don't know if that's going to get him in a good groove, I guess.
All right, thank you for your time, Dale, and good luck next week as you continue for the chase.
That's right. Thanks, Lisa. Dale Jr. is second in the chase right behind Jeff Gordon. Terrific season with 3 wins for Jr. Bristol comes up next week, just a couple of weeks before the chase. You'll see the entire Sprint Cup chase, ESPN and ABC, through the fall. Great new format for that. Cousins has looked sharp in this third quarter. That pass incomplete for Ryan Grant. The penalty just pushed them back to 1st and 20. But John, you liking what you're seeing here from Cousins?
Yes, I do. Nice timing pattern. Then he comes out to his left on a bootleg. Gets some help from Aldrick Robinson with a great catch. And then bump and run. Go to your rookie, Grant, for 6. Nice start to the second half by Kirk Cousins.
Second and 20, looking to set up the screen, and the line did a good job of blowing that up. Couldn't get it to Silas Redd. How different is the offense for Cousins? We keep talking about it in terms of Griffin.
I think it's a lot different after sitting down with Kirk Cousins for a couple days. It's a whole new ball game, Mike. His responsibility at the line of scrimmage in terms of pass protection, the freedom he has, the audible at the line of scrimmage, formations and route concepts are different. And he clearly shows comfort in this attack. It's a drop back system that's really right up his alley. He's athletic, he has a quick arm, and he can put some juice on it when he needs to.
This 3rd and 20, eluding the pressure and surveying before he fires, incomplete. As there was nowhere to go with that one, Jim Leonard in coverage for the Browns. You think of his Michigan State days, and this system probably closer than the Robert Griffin III Baylor system to what he's running now. But terminology, it's been a lot of homework, memorizing and learning new terminology for Cousins this year. Blake Klingman is the punter for Washington, their second punter in camp. Travis Benjamin back to receive this short kick of 35 yards. And fair caught by Benjamin. More Manziel here past the halfway point of the 3rd. We went to the Browns camp on Friday, and John sat down with Johnny Manziel, talked about the adjustment of terminology specifically.
So how do you sound in the huddle? I mean, what do you sound like in there? Let me hear something.
I have to be a little assertive in there, but I mean,
You may play call.
going with the
What's
ones
on
and twos, we'll have like a, man, I want to try and get a good one ahead today. I think I had like pistol trips left off, fake 19-1 to sift, keep right, wide corner, Z slide.
What about 72 Dusty X individual? What are we calling that here?
We're calling that probably double right, Y left, 2-jet, Y rub.
Is that typical for a rookie?
It's tough, you know. It's like Mick Jagger learning the lyrics from The Who. I mean, it's a tough job. Huge transition. I've seen a lot of young quarterbacks fight the same thing.
Flag in the secondary. Go ahead.
It's going to take a lot of study. It's going to take time. And it's going to take reps, and some of it's going to be painful. I remember when Mike Holmgren walked into our meeting room in 1992 in Green Bay. Mariucci, Andy Reid, we're all sitting there, and he said, we made a trade. We got Brett Favre from the Atlanta Falcons, a struggling young quarterback. And we're going to teach him the West Coast offense, and we're going to make him successful. And if he's successful, we'll be successful. If he's not successful, none of us are going to be successful. So we all worked hard to do everything we could to help Brett Favre be successful, and that's what the Browns have to do as an organization. They can't keep changing quarterbacks, changing coaches. They need to commit themselves to this kid, and it's going to take time, and it's going to be painful at times. But at the end of the day, you have to believe there's going to be a silver lining, and it's going to be all worth it. But Cleveland, 20 different starting quarterbacks, Mike.
20.
3 different head coaches in 3 years. You can't function like that. And Mike Pettin knows it. This is painful for him, and he knows there's plenty of work to be done, but the kid is putting the work in. That's the most important thing.
Terrence West carries for 2. It's 2nd and 8. Manziel tosses to West, running right. Met for the moment by Porter, but continues to go on the yard and a half shy of the first down. I always think back to a game we did, it must have been 3 or 4 years ago. It might have been here, and it was Eli Manning. And just what a great job Eli did in a run play, getting the Giants into the right run play at the line of scrimmage. And we just judge on how many plays under center, what's your completion percentage. There's so much to quarterbacking with so much of the game played at the line of scrimmage now.
Plus, there's 2 or 3 guys in the huddle that forget what to do, and you got to tell them. So you got to just really have your chin strap on tight. You got to be buttoned up and sharp.
3rd and 1, and West fighting to get it, the first down across the 47-yard line. So many stories with the focus on Manziel that are still worth telling, and West is one of them. 3rd-round pick out of Towson. Terrence West was 3rd in the Walter Payton Award for the elite player at the FCS level, where he put up tremendous stats, 41 touchdowns last year. Grades not good enough to get himself into Division I school. Questions about his size, but what determination he showed. Shoe sales, prep school, biding his time, taking buses to get eventually to Towson, and turning a tremendous college career. And now a role as a number 2 back here. Manziel out of the pocket, chased down by Murphy. Or rather, Gabe Miller, I should say, 45, going to get Manziel. And there's a Brown injured. That's Travis Benjamin, who's coming off a knee injury from last year. He's injured back in the secondary.
Well, that's a running play. And Johnny Manziel has the freedom to throw the ball to the backside on a slant route. Again, they're not on the same page, and just looks uncomfortable in all areas tonight when you study this Cleveland Brown pass offense.
Good to see Benjamin walking off. Took a hit as he's coming across the middle here. Bakari Rambo.
Bakari Rambo has put the shoulder pads on people tonight. 2nd-year Georgia Bulldog, highly criticized last year for his inability to tackle, has made 3 big hits in the middle of the defense tonight.
Technically ruled as a sack. But shot by Rambo may get the attention of the league office as the week goes on. 2nd and 10 for Manziel. Five, flush, and hit at the line of scrimmage, so virtually no gain again.
No, not much pass protection. Nobody open. And Johnny Manziel can't escape. Right up the middle on a stunt blitz. Sets up another 3rd and long. Don't be surprised if Jim Haslett, the defensive coordinator, comes after Manziel again. They've had great success tonight with overload pressures against this Browns offense.
Rob Jackson chased Minifield, credited with a half a sack there. Manziel out of the pocket, completes it, and Gary Barnidge is taken down, but he will have the first down to keep the drive alive right around the 40.
Well, they come again from the right side of the screen. It's an overload blitz. Manziel flushes to his left, finds an open receiver, and Barnidge gets a big first down for Cleveland.
West to the 38. Gain about 3 yards. John, you pointed out the 20 different quarterbacks, the most in the NFL. That's since the Browns were reconstituted after the move to Baltimore, the 3 years away, but the record and the logo and the colors staying. The Browns get restarted in '99. You had Tim Coucher a couple of seasons, but other than that, it's just been a search, and it's been bad. Tied with Detroit for the worst record, only once to the playoffs. Most quarterbacks, the constant change in head coaches you talked about, and general managers as well, with 7. Now Ray Farmer is the man in charge. Jimmy Haslam, the GM, cleaning house before the season started.
These Cleveland Brown receivers, they need to work when the quarterback scrambles. If you're practicing with Brian Hoyer, you're probably not seeing a lot of quarterback scrambles. That's one of the advantages about letting this kid play. A lot of his big plays are 2nd and 3rd reaction type plays. That time he got no help from his receivers. You have to be aware as to who's in the game, and when Manziel's in there, be ready to keep it alive down the field if you're a wideout.
Browns averaging 3 yards a play here tonight. Flag down, Manziel throwing, complete for the first down to Willie Snead the 4th. At 30.
Illegal formation against Cleveland. They don't have enough receivers on the line of
Illegal
scrimmage.
formation, offense. Number 64 was not covered and was on the end of the line. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Well, take a look at it. You got to be up on the line of scrimmage. You've only got 6 Cleveland Browns on the line of scrimmage. That's a penalty, and it's one thing to have a young quarterback in the game with young receivers. That's why I'm sure glad I'm up here with you, Mike, because he used to drive me crazy.
Need to get to the 31 for a first down. Flag down as Manziel out of the pocket throws. It's incomplete again. Undercut by Breeland, who has been very present here tonight. 4th round pick out of Clemson.
Illegal use of hands to the face. Defense number 50. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Another one of the points of emphasis in this preseason.
That's Rob Jackson, and 3rd and 18 in the first half, kept the drive alive. Here's 3rd and 13. Watch the right side of your screen.
Right there. Those hands up to the headgear. We talked to Joe Thomas, the 7-time Pro Bowl offensive lineman, and Alex Mack, the Pro Bowl center from the Browns, about those plays. And Thomas got whistled for a couple of them as the offensive tackle when they played the first preseason game. Inside hand, this is Dion Lewis. First touch of the night for the 4th-year man from Pittsburgh, who we saw at Philadelphia for a couple of years, then Cleveland last year.
Comes Terrence West back into the game for Cleveland. A lot of youth. Rookie quarterback, rookie back. Trying to find the right 53 men to represent the Cleveland Browns. Let's see if Manziel can finish a drive.
Most of the first downs have come when Manziel has been on the field. several of them via penalty on Washington. West runs into his own man. He gets knocked down, and his offensive linemen may have taken some of the worst of that. Even the passing numbers not pretty for either quarterback. 6 of Cleveland's 11 first downs have come via Washington penalties. There you see Rex Grossman, who was signed this week. He is the veteran backup quarterback. Well, the running back ran into his own man. Injury to Alex Parsons of the Browns. It's for real. 3 weeks away. The 45th season of Monday Night Football will be in downtown Detroit to watch the Giants against Calvin Johnson and the Lions. 2 teams working with new offenses there. We'll kick off just after 7 Eastern time. And then game 2 of the doubleheader, Phillip Rivers in San Diego taking on the Arizona Cardinals. Monday Night Countdown starts at 5 Eastern. And you heard the news earlier, Darnell Dockett with a serious knee injury today in camp for the Cardinals. We wish them all the best. Awful news to hear. One of the better defenders in the league. Terrence West with the carry for the first down as Cleveland tries to punch it in here at the end of this third quarter.
Terrence West has some stop and start quickness. I love his size. He's able to hide behind his own lineman, and sometimes the defensive players can't find him.
Let's see what Manziel can do, getting close to the red zone here to give to West to the left. And the fourth quarter will begin with Cleveland at the 19-yard line. The Browns have played 7 quarters of football this preseason, and they have 5 field goals to show for it. After 3, Washington 14, Cleveland 3. 45 seasons of Monday Night Football, the longest continuously running primetime entertainment series in American television. It's a privilege to be a part of it. We'll start the 2014 season for real here in a couple of weeks in Detroit with that Giants-Lions kickoff. Terrence West hurt at the end of that third quarter. He was helped off under his own power, accompanied by the Browns training staff. Dion Lewis in the backfield on the 13th play of this Manziel drive. And Manziel throws, ill-advised for Marquise Gray, and incomplete.
Second time that Jim Haslett has brought an all-out blitz at Manziel. He's got to see this. The blitz is on, and you're going to be one short in pass protection, so you have to know exactly where to go with the football or change the play. But that's twice now that Johnny Football has been fooled by this Redskin pressure package, setting up third down at 6. Here they come again.
I was just going to say that.
Why not?
And Manziel throws, it is complete. It's Josh Gordon still playing, and Gordon gets the first down.
If you'd have told me that Josh Gordon would have 1,650 yards receiving and lead the NFL and be playing in the fourth quarter of a second preseason game, I'd say probably not. But it's an all-out blitz, and Gordon wins to the inside. Reads Richard Crawford for a first down.
And Cleveland hoping his suspension is not the full season, it's half the season, and they will see him at some point down the line. This is Isaiah Crowell with the carry, and he takes it to the 8-yard line. We talked about the reasons that Gordon, taken in the supplemental draft in 2012, is facing that potential suspension, multiple violations of the substance abuse policy. On the field after missing those 2 games, he was a handful last year, with multiple quarterbacks still able to put up the league leading total in receiving yards. After 50 catches, his first season 87 last year. Get a first down to 1. Will pass inside to Dion Lewis, who gets to the goal line and in. And that will go down as a Johnny Manziel touchdown pass.
Nice call by Kyle Shanahan. A little inside screen. They bluff the blitz, and Dion Lewis finds pay dirt.
And does all the work.
Good call against the zone coverage.
16-play, 68-yard, 8-minute drive. Laying on the leg of the defender, so as he comes to break the plane, question is he down? Does he have control as it breaks the front of the plane? And they rule it a touchdown.
What's the difference between that and the Alfred Morris play, Mike?
Yeah, this guy broke the plane. Morris didn't. Done. With those 33-yard extra points, that is just snuck in by the veteran kicker. 5 extra points missed all of last year from the close distance. Well, these lengthy ones, 8 have been missed. 5 of them by kickers who weren't in the league last year. There is the tail of the tape with Brian Hoyer and Johnny Manziel for the 8 offensive series. And we had mentioned a moment ago 6 of the Cleveland first downs via penalty, most of those on the Manziel drives. And the stats will show 1 touchdown, albeit that was a little short one. That drive against the second-team Washington defense with the second-team Browns offense did look better for Manziel than the other ones we saw earlier.
I think that's how Cleveland's going to turn things around this year. They're going to have to play great defense, create some turnovers, which you saw them do in the first half, play solid on special teams, run the football with some success, and find a quarterback that can make some plays late in the game. Let's see if Manziel can do it tonight. But I think that's how Cleveland wins some games, especially early this year.
The defense is good enough, you think?
Yes.
Rashad Ross with the return. Across the 20 to the 22-yard line. Jamal Westerman with the tackle. Hey, John, look who it is. Your old friend Colt McCoy. 27 years old now, signed in April. 5th year out of the University of Texas. Of course, Cleveland fans know the 3rd-round pick with the Browns. Always a question if you really got a fair shot in Cleveland. It was the team going through those constant changes and turnover. But McCoy, after the stop in San Francisco last year, here in Washington as the number 3. From the 22, he will hand it to Lake Seastrunk, rookie out of Baylor, on the carry.
Holding, offense number 75. 10-yard penalty, first down.
You liked McCoy a whole bunch when he was coming out of Texas and obviously had that injury in the BCS National Championship game.
I do, and he epitomizes this quarterback carousel the Browns have had. He's been in 5 different systems in his 5-year NFL career, and change is hard, really hard on a quarterback, but 5 systems in 5 years has stunted McCoy's growth. There's no doubt about it, but he likes this Redskins system, and I think you'll see tonight he looks comfortable in it.
Seastrunk takes it out to the 16-yard line. When we talk about the Cleveland time for Colt McCoy, 6-15 as a starter after the 3rd-round selection, 21 touchdowns, 20 interceptions. The victim of a lot of struggles on the Browns, took a lot of hits, a lot of pressure. And of course, you remember how it really ended for McCoy. It was this hit by James Harrison. He ended up coming back in the game. There was another injury that they were looking at. They didn't see there was a concussion. So that play not only was the end of his Cleveland days, essentially, as this pass is intercepted by Jim Leonard, who will take it in for the touchdown and give the Browns the lead.
Well, that's just a bad decision by McCoy, and it's how the Cleveland Browns are going to win football games. They're going to play excellent defense, and they're going to create turnovers. That time, it's an old-fashioned swipe route. You're going to see the receiver come from right to left, and Jim Leonard read it like the back of his hand. Leonard's played for Mike Pettin. It seems like for 100 years, Mike.
That's right.
He played for Pettin in Baltimore. He followed him to the Jets. I saw him play for Pettin in Buffalo. And guess what? Jim Leonard just showed off his expertise with an interception run back for 6. You got to be a smart football player to survive Mike Pettin's meetings. They have over 90 defenses in already, Mike. And they'll have 50 to 60 defenses up in every game plan.
Extra point added, and the Browns lead on the 4th Washington turnover. years now, Dan Snyder has owned the Washington Redskins, making the coaching change after 4 years with Mike Shanahan. He did get the one division win from the multiple Super Bowl winning head coach Shanahan, but things spiraling last year, 3 wins. The change needed to be made, and Jay Gruden brought in. The Redskins continue this search over the last 15 years to find stability and success, which really they had when Joe Gibbs had returned. Not much more after that. This is a return opportunity for Rashad Ross. He'll take it out to the 38-yard line. Of course, the Redskins constantly in the news by just that, the use of the team nickname, and will it be used and will it continue to go on? We've seen 50 U.S. senators sign a letter to the Commissioner Roger Goodell urging the Redskins name change, more politicians calling for Dan Snyder to react, even some former players, but many have come out supporting it. Some say it's a racial slur, others say it honors and is not disparaging to Native Americans. Snyder on Outside the Lines in an interview with John Barr a few weeks ago said adamant that he was not going to bow to the pressure of a name change. Down the field, it is caught, and that is Lee Doss with the catch, or rather Ross with the grab. Richard Ross, 19 not 18.
Well, Ross
on the big pass from McCoy.
Excuse me, Mike. Ross is trying to become a Washington Redskin. Just a straight go route. He runs right by number 40, Royce Adams, who's had a tough night tonight. He was beat earlier by Grant for a touchdown. That time Ross ran right by him. And you got to get your hands on people when you're in bump and run coverage or you'll get in trouble.
43 on the game, and here is Seastruck. He'll take it to the 14-yard line. Johnson Batamosi bringing him down for Cleveland, third-year player out of Stanford.
Seastrunk is fast. The only Baylor Bear to have 2 1,000-yard rushing seasons. It's been a real transition for him from the no-huddle spread, just like it has been for Manziel, to get in a huddle, hear all these plays, check with knees, audibles. The Seastrunk is fast, and if you give him a crack, he can finish it.
Showed well, 63 yards against the Patriots in Washington's first preseason game last week. And McCoy. Incomplete. And a sideline shot intended for Cody Hoffman. Rookie free agent out of BYU.
Tough place to throw the ball. We talk about it every week, especially when you're a backup quarterback or a young quarterback. You don't get a lot of reps. You see different defenses. Your offensive playbook changes. Everything happens faster. There's less real estate. And Cleveland's coming after Colt McCoy. Let's see what he has in mind.
Third and 6. Try to elude the pressure, and incomplete through the hands of Ted Bolzer, the 7th-round pick out of Indiana. And a penalty marker does come down. So this will be accepted penalty number 20 on the night.
Pass interference, defense number 37. Automatic first down.
So 20 tonight. The average preseason game has been right around 19. Just look, we talk about, do the numbers come down from the regular season? If you look back historically over the since really 2000-ish, John, about 10% fewer penalties in the regular season from these preseason games. The question is, with this big bump in the preseason, what will we see when the regular season starts in a couple of weeks? Will it come down? How much will it come down?
Take a shot at the bottom of the screen. I just saw the hand signal. Here's that Bear defense. Went the other way.
And it's incomplete.
We're going after Adams, Mike. Excuse me. They've had success against Royce Adams. That time McCoy saw the pressure defense. He changed the play, and give Royce Adams credit. That's what you have to do as a defensive back. You have to have a short-term memory. Good work.
Silas Red was the back, and he did a really good job of picking up the pressure, number 24. All the small things, trying to make a team. Every snap gets analyzed by the coaches. Seastruck lowers the shoulder, and he'll be stopped at the 8-yard line. It's interesting talking to Jay about just the mechanics of the game and calling plays and what you're going to be able to do in the regular season, getting back to calling plays and managing the game. And same thing with Mike Pettine on the Cleveland side. These are preseason games that you often say, why do you need 4 preseason games? And not just the players, but new coaching staffs. Very beneficial to have these times to get the things ironed out. 4 in the pattern, and the throw to the end zone is incomplete. Good job by Leon McFadden, who has played a lot because of the 6 corners that Cleveland has inactive here tonight.
Take a look at it, one-on-one coverage. I don't know, I see a lot of contact. I don't know what is and what isn't. But I like it when they let them play, Mike. Pass interference calls should call themselves. We should all be able to see them clearly. Good no call.
The Redskins need to find under pressure who's going to be their kicker. Forbath, who did it the last 2 years, will try this from 26. And he knocks it through. 9:51 left in the 4th quarter. And we are tied at 17. Well, Johnny Manziel was the biggest star in Cleveland sports for 2 months. And then LeBron decided to come home. These two have met before, met at a Heat game last year. Manziel sought James' advice when that memorabilia issue came up this time a year ago, and Manziel was facing that 1/2 suspension, it turned out to be, at Texas A&M. So there's superstar, there's celebrity, and there was LeBron at Brown's training camp to meet Johnny Manziel back a few weeks ago.
It's good to be in Cleveland right now.
Takes the pressure off a little bit to have LeBron in town.
1964, last championship. Having LeBron James can really energize the city, and the Browns are hoping for the same thing from Johnny Football.
Marlon Moore with the return. Cleveland fans are very sensitive to seeing this graphic. I did a ton of Cavaliers games when LeBron was there, and you'd put this up, and the folks say, well, stop. It's just the facts. It's where it is, but it's, I think, a tremendous testament and credit to the Cleveland fans. They continue to support the Browns. The loyalty to see LeBron come back. A guy like Dante Whitner, who's come back to Northeast Ohio. Connor Shaw making his debut here for the Browns, and he throws complete. Willie Snead able to bring it in. So Shaw did not play last week against Detroit. This is the free agent rookie. Played for the head ball coach, Steve Spurrier, at South Carolina, and was the Gamecocks' winningest quarterback.
17-0 he was at home. Last year he threw 24 touchdown passes and 1 interception. 75 career touchdowns. I know my Gamecocks, Mike.
Did you do all that research yourself? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
I spoke at the South Carolina Football Clinic.
Isaiah Croy.
Don't you remember Clowney in the Outback Bowl, the hit he made in that game?
I haven't seen that ever on sports. I haven't heard your call on that ever.
That might be your greatest call ever as a broadcaster.
Will Compton with the tackle. So this was interesting. Tyler Thigpen was here as the Browns quarterback. He has NFL experience. He played in the game against Detroit, finished it last week. And then he was cut. They brought in Rex Grossman. Rex working his way back to playing condition. So this is the first opportunity for Shaw to play in an NFL game. He dives forward to the 47-yard line.
And Rex Grossman was with Kyle Shanahan in Houston, with Kyle here in Washington as the starter. Can give a young quarterback like Manziel some behind-the-scenes information, some tricks, some secrets, into unlocking some of the secrets in this Browns attack. I got a feeling that's why he's there, to help mentor the young quarterback.
And their personalities will connect well, too, John. Knowing both of those guys. 3rd and 7. And Shaw throwing on the run. That's a good-looking toss and a catch by Gabriel on the sideline. Inbounds at the 33-yard line.
Gabriel has had a nice camp. Abilene Christian taking advantage of all these reps. But look at Shaw, Connor Shaw looking to his right. Nobody's open. He gets away from pressure. And that's a nice job on the scramble drill by Taylor Gabriel. And a good throw on the move by Connor Shaw. And all Steve Spurrier kept telling me was he deserves a chance. This kid can play. He's proven it.
22 on the completion. Dion Lewis will take it for 3 yards.
There's that zone read again. You see that quarterback in the pistol formation. That's when the tailback is behind the quarterback in the shotgun. That's a big indicator to defenses that you're going to see some of these quarterback-driven read options. And Kyle Shanahan is at the forefront of this pistol and this read option offense.
Back to Lewis again. Time good cleanup by Akeem Jordan, a veteran who's in a battle to make one of those final spots. The inside linebacker. Hey, John, you think about it, go back to a couple of years ago as Kyle Shanahan tried to put this offense in with Robert Griffin III. They did a lot of studying of college offenses and trying to place it and piece it together and make the bridge from a college offense to something effective in the pros. And it did help the Redskins win the division.
Yes, it did. Long-range field goal kicker. Just don't take a sack. Give Cundiff a chance to give you the lead late in the fourth.
3rd and 10, rushing 4, screen set up for Lewis, and snuffed out. Will Compton, who's in that battle with Akeem Jordan for one of those spots. Good job by the first-year player from Nebraska.
Well, it's going to be the backup field goal kicker. Possibly. No, it'll be Cundiff. But you don't want to lose 3 yards, Mike, and make a 49-yard field goal, a 52-yard field goal. And in this case, it looks like it's going to be 54 for the veteran Cundiff, who clearly has the leg.
And we'll drift wide to the right. And with 5:26 left, we remain tied at 17. Which will give us a more chance for extra penalties to be called. Perhaps in overtime.
Maybe overtime, yeah.
Yeah. 4 left, all even at 17. These two teams will go on to week 3 in a short week. They'll play Saturday, Washington. The neighborhood rivalry, the annual game against Baltimore. Cleveland has not played a home game yet. They will play against St. Louis. Seastrunk with the carry to the 48-yard line. And John, that schedule with everybody playing their final preseason game in week 4 on a Thursday makes it a very truncated schedule for these teams, playing 3 games in 11 days, Monday, Saturday, then Thursday. And that will impact a lot of things in terms of how much playing time you get. And it's a short turnaround week, especially with Cleveland trying to assess the quarterback situation.
In that final preseason game, as you know, the starters play little, if any.
Seastrunk to the right with his carry, yards short of the first down.
So a lot has to be determined, Mike.
Yep.
Next week, I know the Redskins play at Baltimore. I think you'll see more of Robert Griffin in this Redskins starting group. But I don't know what you do if you're Mike Pettine. You wanted to announce the starting quarterback sometime tomorrow or the next day, but I don't know if I'm ready to do that quite yet.
So could you take it to the 3rd preseason game?
I think I would.
Yeah.
I would want to see more from Brian Hoyer. I thought Hoyer could have locked it up tonight. But he missed some throws, and it all started on the first play of the game. They had the wrong snap count. They had a false start. It just went bad from the very beginning for Hoyer, and it'll be interesting to see what happens as decision time looms for Mike Pettine. Who is his quarterback? That's unsettling when you're a new head coach. You don't know who your quarterback is.
Well, the start is not easy. It's at Pittsburgh and Dick LeBeau's terrific, confusing defense. Then New Orleans and Baltimore back-to-back come to Cleveland. Then there is a bye week, and then the schedule gets a bit easier. It's no disrespect to the teams there, but it's not that murderer's row to start in the first 3 weeks, although they do see the Steelers again, that time at home. So there is the theory that the comfort of Hoyer, who has started NFL games, could get you going. You could have a package of plays with Manziel to keep him going. Then you have the bye week if you do want to make the switch, giving him another, essentially from now, month to pick up terminology, comfort, and all the other stuff.
The only problem is, by not giving the young quarterback the ball, is he doesn't get any reps.
In practice, during the
practice, you give all the work, all the preparation to Hoyer, and the developmental process is stymied with the lack of work on the practice field. So if it's close, you almost have to give it to the young guy just because of the reality of the rules and how hard it is to get one quarterback ready, let alone two.
Zach Dials meets Silas Red in the hole, the 30-yard line, 2.5 to go, 3rd and 5. As Washington sitting here with a 47 or 48-yard field goal attempt if they don't lose yardage.
It'll be interesting to see who kicks the game-winning potential field goal, because that's one of the biggest training camp battles here in Washington. They drafted a field goal kicker to compete with Kai Forbath. Let's see what happens.
McCoy, protected, fires right side for the touchdown. Nick Williams.
Great job by McCoy, and Royce Adams' nightmare continues. Blitz situation. Good pass protection. Nice maximum protection by the Redskins. Sean McVay did a nice job. Silas Red again with good pickup, and Nick Williams beats Royce Adams for a touchdown. Just an outside release go route. Nick Williams, a former Connecticut Husky, can run. He's an outstanding return man, and he's still in the mix.
They've been playing 5 games last year for Washington. Extra point, Zach Hocker's turn from 33 yards. And with 2:01 to go, Washington takes a 7-point lead.
I'd like to see Colt McCoy come back. You throw an interception for a touchdown. You don't go in a tank. You brush it off, and you come back and give your team a game-winning delivery, or potentially a game-winning delivery. There's Sean McVay, 28-year-old offensive coordinator. I think he's got a bright future. Impressive on the practice field, and if they can clean up the turnovers, there's a lot of good tonight. Over 400 yards of offense. All 3 quarterbacks moved the team. They just got to clean up the turnovers in their goal line offense.
Well, it's a common conversation this time of year. Who is a first-place team who might fall? Who's a last-place team that can come back to the top? It seems to happen annually. It was such a turnaround last year as the Redskins went from division champions to last place. They would have had the number 2 overall pick, but that was St. Louis's in the deal for Robert Griffin III. Hard division to handicap. The Eagles come to year 2 of the Chip Kelly system. Dallas with questions on their defense. The Giants struggling with their new offensive system in the preseason. Marlon Moore on the return for Cleveland. He'll be stopped just shy of the 30. We have a flag down as we get to the 2-minute warning.
During the return, holding receiving team number 80. Half the distance to the goal. First down, timeout.
As we hit the 2-minute warning with the 21st penalty of the night. See if Cleveland can mount a drive to come back and try to win the game with a 2-point conversion. ESPN NFL preseason special brought to you by NFL.com Fantasy. It's easy to play. Sign up for free at NFL.com/fantasy. Are you going to join the Monday Night Football Fantasy Football League this year?
I think I am, Mike.
Are you going to do it?
Yes. I've been studying my draft picks.
Come on, do it.
I'm going to give it a shot this year. I feel like I'm ready to go on that.
Get one of the boys to draft for you. Come on.
I'm going to get my middle son, Mike. He's pretty good.
Let's do it. Come on. Connor Shaw, the quarterback. Number 9 takes over from the 9. Cleveland 2 timeouts and $1.54 to go down the field. He gets us 4 of the yards there with Willie Snead.
Zone defense by Washington. 4-man rush. See if you can pass protect.
Shaw stepping up. He'll get the first down to the 20-yard line.
He's got some mobility. Shaw has kept a lot of action alive tonight on his own. This backup offensive line of the Browns has to earn their money now.
Shaw throws over the middle. Snead catching it. Yard shy of the first down. And they'll keep it going as we hit the minute mark. Take it out of bounds as Gabriel makes that catch. 45 seconds left. Cleveland choosing to save the timeouts.
A lot of time wasted.
The pass incomplete. Will at least stop the clock with 29 seconds left. With Shaw not getting a lot of opportunities to run 2-minute drills in practice with all the time and attention given to the other two quarterbacks.
No, and when we were there, Rex Grossman was getting the leftover reps. So this is Connor Shaw's opportunity to not just play for a spot on the Cleveland Browns, but perhaps another team or another team's practice squad.
Shot down the middle. That's a terrific catch. Hauled in by Jonathan Kraus, and the timeout taken here as they get to the 40-yard line. 24-yard pickup. The rookie from Vanderbilt.
A nice job by Shaw, standing in the pocket, waiting for the deep square end to develop right off the right side of your screen. Shaw hung in there nicely, and you said it. Kraus goes up and gets it.
So at least with 19 seconds left and one timeout gives you enough of a chance to take a few shots at the end zone.
Kraus looks like he's hurt.
He is. He's
Starting to line up. That's not a good sign.
Looking back over to the trips here on the right. They can barely run. So less options for Shaw, who is sacked here at the 45-yard line. And Cleveland will use its final timeout with 9 seconds remaining.
Well, you can see Kraus was hurt.
Yeah.
And then out of that bunch formation, that right knee just gave way.
Well, final numbers here. This is through the 2 preseason games. Similar number of series. More of Manziel's series have come against second-team defenders, Detroit, and here tonight. But Manziel's picked up the third downs. Both players with just around 50 or below 50 in the completion percentage. And many of the Manziel drives are kept alive by the 6 Washington penalties to give them first downs. And that doesn't give you everything. You saw it with your eyes. Anything you saw that would lead you to believe that there's one guy who's won the job so far?
No, there isn't. And I don't think it's just on the quarterbacks. This offense was out of sync. They couldn't snap the ball in this first play of the game. There's a lot of work to be done.
Shaw gonna let it go. Final play of the game is deflected and caught for the touchdown. Emmanuel Oboihi, the first-year tight end out of Georgia State, makes it 24-23, and the Browns will go for 2 and the win. Oboihi.
How about Shaw? He buys time. He gets out of his trouble zone and lets it rip. And off the double ricochet, the Browns are in position for a dramatic win.
Willie Snead with the tip. And a guy who was in Washington's camp of all things last year, spent 4 weeks on Miami's practice squad, comes up with the catch. So the Browns will go for 2 and the win. As we said at the beginning, you couldn't have more sizzle in a Week 2 preseason game. And here it is. For the win. Shaw. No. Washington wins. 24-23, the game is over. The conversation will begin about how Manziel played, how Hoyer played, as Hoyer and his old Michigan State teammate Kirk Cousins meet there in midfield. And what will be next for the Browns? 24 Washington, 23 Cleveland. See you for the season opening doubleheader from Detroit on September 8th with John Gruden and Lisa Salters. Mike Tirico sending you to SportsCenter.